There's the inside with remnants of the previous outside one. I tried to line them up the same way they were before. And so there's that. And I do have a bit of a line here, but this is on the inside. We'll see how it looks. Well, this hasn't been sanded. All right, anyway, next is the outside pattern, the small one. Here's the smaller pattern. You can see the inside pencil mark. And as I mentioned before, I kept this square so for alignment purposes. And I kept these little tabs for alignment purposes, one on each side. Helps line up the pattern. And then there's that. And then here's the center line. The other thing that I added was these tick marks for the angles. And so I'm going to transfer those onto the pattern, sand this stuff off when I'm finished. This is the inside face, so I'll have to put that on the outside face. A lot of little things to remember. Here's the inside, and I've notched these corners. I'm drawing these lines in here. That's the flat edge. Actually, the fit with that's the pattern for the inside, and it fits better than is shown here. But so I've lined this pattern up with this line, extended that line down. I'm going to have to clean that up. That's not quite right. And then centered it here and drawn across the bottom and down to this side. Now I'm going to flip it over. Actually, before I flip it over, I got to put the A through I positions. The plan is to cut 45 degrees in here up to, I think, D, and then drop it to 25, and I have to confirm that. Take it that way. Do the same, flip the saw over, do it the same here. I've flipped over the panel, and this is the outside. And I've traced, so to see what I've traced. So I lined up the pattern with, so I hit this line here, and center line, and then center line there, and this little flat here, which I was put on from the other side, and from there as well. And I aligned the pattern with that, and I also transferred the labels, both sides. And again, I'm not doing anything about the tiller hole now. That's going to get dealt with later. So this is the inside pattern. And so on. I'm not going to make you watch me do that. But anyway, there it is. You can still see some epoxy in the grain here. We'll try to sand that out, although it'll probably blend in with the sealer, hopefully. So the idea behind this is I'll cut from the other side at 45 degrees, and it'll come out somewhere, well, from here that way, 45 degrees is okay, and from this way it'll go drop down to 25 degrees because this angle is 28 degrees something. Of course, I need to put the line across this, so I'll put the pattern back and make sure I get that in the right place. This is a really nerve-wracking task. Truly nerve-wracking. Anyway, we're creeping forward. This place right here, this is really complicated because this edge, the shear strake tucks under this, and it's going to be at 45 degrees. So I'm not even going to deal with this right now. So this is the setup. It's a little hard to see. Get that away. I've got a little bright light on there, and I'm coming in just off the line. And if you look underneath, it's a long way away from the other line. So here's the second 45 cut, and then I straightened the blade out and came in from the side. I put this, where is it? There's the mark right there. That's for 45 degrees. And see if I can get. There's another piece. What's it look like? I'll have to look at this later. Now we go to 25 degrees and keep going. So there it is. I cut this at 45 degrees. I stopped soon on this one. This one I only cut at 20 degrees, so I got a lot of work to do, but it should be okay once I take the piece, take the other cut off from the other side. I'm concerned about this. This is really tight. It's on the inside. No, it's the outside, so it's going to show if it's too far. I'll see how it is in a minute, but I put tape on here to keep the edge from coming up badly. I should have given some more space there. Oh yes, I took a chunk out of this here, which I'm going to have to clean that up, but it's not going to be visible. This is the inside, and it's going to be covered mostly by the stern knee. So I just touched the line there, which stinks, but we'll figure that out. This is where I should have stopped on that side. With this being messed up, it's going to be a little bit of a trick to get that sorted out, but at this point, I'm going to start using bevel gauges to get the angles right here. I'm going to take everything out from D out. I'm just going to take and I'm using this baby right here. I do not want to use a chisel on this thing. I don't plan to do that. Screw up the wood. Anyway, so from D to I, I'll use this rasp. And then from up here, I'll cut some more off. But fortunately, this is under planks, so I'll just put a wedge in there cut a piece of mahogany or a sapele and put it in there as a wedge. And this is going to get trimmed off anyway, some here, but this is, so this will disappear some, but it'll still be there. This is one of the scariest things that I've done on this boat so far. You know, this is really testing my skill set. So this is definitely a two-handed job. But getting right up to the line, and this is still not flat, and I think I've got a little ways to go before I get to the line there, so I may have to flip this over and mess with it from the other side. We'll see. So I was thinking of trimming this edge off with a jigsaw. Enough of it's gone that if you look at this side over here, I've still got some work to do, but it's and that's just simply using this guy. I'll put the link to it. I got mine on Amazon. But anyway, it's starting to take shape. The line is pretty much, it's still around here. It's still a little bump in the middle. And I'm going to get out the, and this is still rough. I'm going to have to clean up this end piece here. And this is going to be enough that I'll just put a wedge in here of sapele. But yeah, this is starting to, it's still very rough right at the moment. But, I mean, it took me, I don't know, an hour. I mean, I'm working at this for a couple hours. If I had not had my mistakes, which are this, which is completely daft. I mean, that's like, give me a break, man. You should have known better than that. And this one where I just touched across the line. And I'll have to deal with that as well. But it'll just be at this edge. I could probably hide it at the transom. So anyway, I hope to finish this tomorrow. This is a real big deal because this is one of the main things that has to get done before I can start setting up the strong back and building the molds and then setting up the strong back. I flipped this over just to make sure that the cut is fairly close to the line, and it is. I'm going to give it a little knock. There, I seem to have just caught the line at that point. Yeah, it's not good, but there's not much to take off. There's that mess. I'm going to have to fix that. And here's this piece that broke off the end when I'm going to trim this up here. And the rest, let's see, how are we doing here? It's a little bit much, but not too much. So I have some defects. That's a little bit much there, but I don't think it's so much that I can't fix it on the boat. It gives me a little bit of leeway for fairing. Now I have so I've got this mess I've got to clean up. And then you can't see it from here, but I tried cutting this with tried cutting it with this jigsaw, and you can't really do it unless you have an extra long blade. And I also think you need a blade guide. I don't it was just walking into the wood, and it didn't work. As a result, I have a little bit of a divot I've got to fill in. I'm just going to put some, there's that, can you see it? I'll show a better picture in a minute. But G-Flex epoxy, and then I've got this screw up here. So I got a couple defects here, and I'm just gonna clean them up. This one slightly impinged on there, but I think a little piece of wood in there, and it'll be hardly noticeable. Now this is the inside. It's been scraped pretty hard. I haven't sanded these things. Now I have to go around and check the angles. I spot checked a few of the angles. They look pretty good. But it's not, the bevel's round at this point because of the fact I'm using this. Now I took the handle off this, and you need a pair of gloves, but it works great when you put a pair of gloves on and just use this without the handle. It's very effective. We're not quite ready to declare victory, but we're real close. Here's the outside face. I've got some more rounding to do, or more beveling to do, because it's this bevel is not flat, so that's going to have to be. But everything's dressed, at least started, and I need to confirm the angles. And you can see hasn't been brought down to the line. And like there, it hasn't been brought down to the line, and there it hasn't been brought down to the line. Now, defects. So I got this one, which fortunately is not visible on this surface and will be hidden underneath. So that'll be repaired. This one, so all these are going to get G-Flex epoxy and probably some wood sawdust. This one is a bit of a problem because it actually goes onto this face a bit. Now, I haven't finalized how I'm going to sort this out, but that's going to have to be repaired. I'm probably going to try to get a piece of, so there's the stuff that came off. So I'll find something that was right next to this and trim off a piece so I've got similar grain right at that point and lay that in there. So I've got some more work to do, some dings, what to avoid. This was me being an idiot and forgetting that the 45-degree cut comes from the inside to the outside. And then this one had to be much, much greater than 45 degrees. So like 60 degrees. It would have been 80 degrees to cut this or something. It would have been okay. This one is when I tried to use this guy with too short a blade. Now, if I'd had a real long blade and probably a blade, a blade holder or something to keep the blade from walking, this I would have been okay trimming this edge off. Once you do the 45-degree cut, or once you do the first cut, because you've got enough wood taken off that you can. I've only used this rasp. I haven't used a chisel, which I was loath to do. I just pounding on something like this that's been epoxied. I just didn't feel comfortable doing that. So that is a good way to go. And I've got to finish this finally, get the bevel right. And so the third bug is, sorry. Well, I'll finish that in a minute. Third bug is this guy. I think I have a plan forward to get him so that it looks okay. But the problem here is that the 45 degree, you can't go beyond this point between C and D at 45 degrees. Now, how do you know how far you can go? When the bevel, when the distance on the plans is greater than the thickness of your plank, you can go at 45 degrees. Because 45 degrees is when the thickness equals, when this dimension equals this dimension. So my problem is when I did this, I put tape down to keep from getting blowout on the grain. But when you do this, I should have put a nice big piece of blue tape right there, which I did on this side. And then you get to that and you stop. This was way too far. This angle is under 45. It's less than 45 degrees. So now, and what I did for the remainder of this, and for this where I stopped at 45 degrees, is I set the saw at about 20 or 25 degrees. And so you trim off some of this coming from the other way. And that way you trim off as much wood as you can. I think I have a way forward. That's the only one that's going to even give me much of a defect that's in the surface. This is in the wood, or on the bevel. That's on the bevel, and something on the inside which no one's ever going to see. This is very close. No, that's the fourth defect, I guess. I've got to clean that up too. These edges are, especially here, are very sharp, very easy to ding, and so it's going to have to be great care taken. Anyway, more thought about this, but so these four things will get sorted out. In order to get some very thin pieces that could fit in these defects, this is going to sit right here. I can't really do 45 degrees with this. I cut 25 degrees. The only thing that does is change the length. This should get very close. I might have a little gap to deal with, but anyway, I'm going to glue that piece in there, glue a piece in here, glue this guy in there, and then just carefully trim everything off and declare victory again and move on. Here it is. I've glued these pieces in with G-Flex epoxy. And this, again, I've got a gap in the bottom, but I'm not flush at the bottom, so there's some more rounding to do. I'm more concerned about this face than I am underneath. Now, let's see what happens. I'm putting down some blue tape to avoid damaging this is the outside surface of the hull, so I want to be real careful. Hopefully, this is not the best situation. See what happens. carefully. Great. Well, I can definitely see the edge. And there's the pencil line. I'm going to just take this surface down. I've got a little bit of the line yet underneath. So I'm just going to smooth this so it's flat. I think I'm going to declare victory as stop. So there it is. There's the, let's see, how's that look? Looks better. That's too many shadows. That's this piece here, the flash. The edge is somewhat noticeable, but we'll work on that later. It's still got a bump. It's not perfect by any means, but it's much better. This is much better. Also, I've got some more detailing to do, but and then this is done as well. So it's not the fairing's not complete. The bevel's not complete, but it's enough to proceed to putting the fairing piece, the fashion pieces on.